Hello, it's Chris Bednark from the Office of the State Fire Marshal's Division of Personnel Standards and Education. And today we're going to go over a quick Vector Solutions training related back to the State Enterprise platform on how to add your folks that are on your roster to the different credentials for recertification, and then also how to add those credentials to any custom activities you might be building. You can tell by some of the language I just used that this is geared towards departments that are using the premium platform. Folks that are using the free version will do a second video that will explain a little better how you would interact with those recertification credentials. So if you've already opted in and you have a premium site like the one that I'm showing here, you're going to go to your administration tab. You're going to go down to Manage Credentials, and you'll see the Office of the State Fire Marshal categories that are already here. Since we're going to deal with recertification in this video, we're going to hit the down arrow here under the recertification task books, and this lists all of the credentials for all of the recertification for the state. If it's not listed here, we're not doing recertification with it. So what we'll do is we're going to click on FAE recertification. Under the credential options, if you hit the gearbox here and scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see that we've already set these credentials up to renew. So what that means is if your member meets the 100% recertification requirement over their 4-year cycle, when they hit that expiration date, this credential is automatically going to renew for another 4 years. There's nothing else you'll have to do. The system is going to talk directly to the portal, process their recertification, and then on the Vector side, it's going to automatically renew that credential for another 48 months. If we look over by users, you can see that I already have 11 people that are enrolled into this credential, but what we'll do is we'll hit the gearbox here under users. If we click on actions and then add users, we can see the list of folks that are on my roster. We'll just pick the first one here to add him. There is no number associated with an OSFM certificate, and we will say that today was the day that Mr. Barraza got certified as an FAE, so 5/23 of 22, and then he would renew 5/23 of 26. We'll click finish. If we want to see at any point where he is in relation to recertification, we can hit this third icon in from the left, view credential summary report, and we can see that it's going to list all of the JPRs that are required for his recertification. Since we just added him, it's no surprise that he's at 0% and that there are no completions listed underneath. But as he does get some completed, the date, the topic, and then any attachments, maybe you're scanning in a drill sheet or a log sheet of some type, a lesson plan, whatever attachment you might be uploading as part of that completion would show up on the right side here as a link. If we go back to administration, now that we know how to add people to this, and we go to our activities builder, let's just start from scratch building a new activity. So I have a category set up as test. That's how I know which ones I'm not going to leave in here for my department to use. We're going to name it FAE recertification test. And under the description, we'll just make a little note for myself that this doesn't have any bearing on anything for my department. And I'm going to allow this to be recorded by administrators and supervisors. Make sure you always give these things a tag, one tag only, please. So we will mark this as driver operator training, and we will click save. Now this is the template for your activity. The things that you would normally add, go ahead and build this out the way you normally would. So we always want to make sure we have the date. We want to have the duration. We'll probably want to have the instructor, and we may use units involved. So for the case of FAE, I'm going to limit my options between one of our 2 engines. We can always have a spot for someone to upload a sheet if they want to. That way, if there is a drill sheet or anything else they want to add as some supplemental documentation for their activity, it's there for us. The next thing we want to do is we want to go to this fourth icon from the left, add to credentials. And for recertification for FAE, we're going to scroll down to the recertification taskbook, and we will select some topics. So in our drill, let's say this is going to be a general 1410 style drill. So we're going to have some general knowledge requirements. You have to do this every time. You have to scroll back down each time you want to add a new one. So we will say that they're going to respond to our scene. We're going to make them drive there. We're going to operate in that emergency scene. We are going to connect to a water supply, and that can be a positive water supply from a hydrant. That could be a drafting operation. It can be whatever works in your jurisdiction for connecting to a water supply. You could be drafting. Any of those things would work. We are going to say that we're going to pump to a hand line of at least 2.5 inches or larger during our drill. And you can see one nice thing that as we keep going back to that list, our list gets a little smaller so that we know what we did. And let's add one more. We'll scroll down to FAE, and we're going to select produce effective hand or master streams. Let's just say we're going to knock all this stuff out in this one drill. So you can see in this one drill, in this one activity, we're going to knock out 6 different JPRs out of the 9 that are in here. So there's 9 different JPRs that are required for completion for recertification for FAE. The last one, this 5.2.8, is the validation by the training officer or the chief. That cannot be added to an activity. That has to be done separately. And generally speaking, during a regular tower drill, basic firemanship type of drill, we're not necessarily going to be doing foam or attaching to a sprinkler or standpipe system. If you're doing this at a tower and the tower you're at allows for this, absolutely add it. I am all for getting the best bang for our buck out of our activities when we're doing this stuff. And speaking for getting the best bang for our buck out of this drill, let's also scroll down to FSVO, because I don't know how you'd be able to pump on that apparatus if you didn't do a few FSVO related JPRs as well. So we said that we were going to drive it there. So we're going to have operate a fire apparatus, and general knowledge definitely fits there. And as a general rule, I choose 4.2.1, performing visual and operational checks on the systems and components, because I feel as though when our drivers go out, they're doing a walk around, they're making sure that the vehicle is safe to operate before they pull it out of the station. And once they get on the scene, they're checking those other systems to make sure that everything is functional. The one thing that I don't normally put in a standard activity is documenting the visual and operational checks. To me, that's more of a morning floor check type of situation and not something that's done every time we cross threshold heading out for a call or for a drill. So for this drill, we've gotten a nice handful of FAE research, some FSVO. If you have the ISO trackers, you can also be adding your driver operator training in here to work towards those 12 hours of ISO credit that you're looking for every year. We'll go back to our edit mode. We can see that this activity is pretty much ready to go. So now whenever I would go to record this as a completion for however many of my folks show up to that drill, they'll be getting credit for what they need. This activity is designed for those members who are participating as an engineer or a driver operator. We would record a separate completion for those members who are on the drill grounds performing the firefighter evolutions, the people that are dragging the lines, throwing the ladders, spraying the water. That would be a separate completion. So that's one thing that we do need to keep in mind when we're building our activities and when we're recording our completions, particularly for ISO, OSHA, and OSFM requirements, that we're recording potentially multiple completions so that those members who are on the scene or who are at that training get credit for the activities that they have performed. I hope this helps to clear up how to add your members to the different recertification credentials offered by the State Enterprise platform, and how to add some of those credentialed activities to the custom activities that you are building. As always, you are welcome to build custom activities or record individual completions towards the OSFM recertification program. It's entirely up to you and how you decide to utilize the platform. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to answer your questions and help get you pointed in the right direction. Until the next time, this is Chris Bednarik for Personnel Standards in Education. Hoping everyone the best.